Hey everybody. Today thought we'd talk about life, the game of life. There's classic games out there like Monopoly, uh, chess checkers, sorry, trouble. They're the classics, right? And then of course Risk. These are some of the classic games. Life is also one of the classic Parker Brothers, Milton Bradley, Hasbro, you know, family of games. We also happen to have life, the game of life. They've made a bunch of different editions of life. They've even made some special editions of life. Comment down below, like, a little edition of life you would like to see made. Today, we're going to talk about some. We're not going to talk about life editions they've already made. We're going to talk about some I think that they could make, but they probably won't make. Now, since it's Christmas time, we might as well get these first ones out of the picture. But they could make a Christmas themed life where you play, I guess, as an elf. You know, an elf's life in Santa's workshop, right? Or whatever. That would be interesting. Since I'm a Christian, biblical edition lives would be nice, where you could maybe play the life of Jesus Christ or the life of, or for the Muslims, maybe they could have a life of Muhammad game. Or for the Jews, maybe you could have the life of Moses type game. Then again, you could also have life games based off of historical figures uh, from history, where that you play that person's life. That would be maybe particularly interesting. I'd want the biblical characters one to be, biblically accurate, of course. And I would want the historical characters one to be historically accurate. Now, if you're playing a particular character, that wouldn't be very interesting. So, because, each player character would be different. But maybe there could be like an apostle's life where you play the life of one of the apostles of Jesus Christ. Or maybe there could be a life where you play the prophets, the life of one of the prophets. That way, it's kind of a little bit the same for everybody, but a little bit different too, because you're a different, prophet or whatever. Now, if we're going to go with historical settings of life, they could do life in this time period or that time period. Now, why they probably won't ever do lives like that is because, well, excuse you. Excuse you? Yeah. Excuse me. Anyway, the reason they probably won't ever do lives like that is because they're not. Well, life is like, it's more like for kids, so they probably won't ever do any life that's not based off of something famous or popular. Now, they probably will do lives based off of. Oh, yeah, Clue's another classic game. But with Monopoly and Clue and Sorry and uh, Trouble and a lot of those type of games, all they're doing is just retheming the same game with a rethemed of something popular. With life, you actually have to do some work. Even when you do a retheme version of life, they have to do some kind of excuse me work to make that life a life game. Like they did that they did Star Wars: A Jedi's Path. So you play as basically a Jedi. Basically in the prequels. So there's, and you can go on the dark side and become a Sith instead. So there's that, you know? Like Indiana Jones life, it had 4 different sections for the 4 different movies. Now there's going to be an Indiana Jones 5 coming out, though, so maybe they'll have to make a new one. Now Battleship's another classic game, but Battleship, again, you would just retheme something, and they don't do a very good job on their rethemes of battleships. I mean, they made Pirates of the Caribbean life for I think every movie, or at least they tried it for the first 3 or 4 or whatever, and then they were like, which is actually, it works. So with a life game, you have to use lore from the show or video game or whatever franchise you're using, and then also have it where it's like you're going through a life like you would go through the show. So they probably won't do that with historical stuff or biblical stuff or religious stuff in that general, because one, they probably don't have an audience for it, and two, which means they won't make any money. They it's all about money. So life um, is the harder one. I mean, Risk is pretty hard to do a good retheme for, and you can do less with Risk than you can with Life, because Risk, it's always about a conquest type game. To do a theme of a game, to do a Risk theme of a game, you have to have a show that is about war in general, right? It's about fighting or whatever. So, and you have to have like it more on an epic scale than anything, right? So you have to have more of a grand scale theme of fighting, which they have in a bunch of video games and stuff. And there's few television shows or movie franchises or whatever that do that, but there's not that many of them, comparatively speaking. There are shows that have war in them, or violent, or I don't want to say violence, but I'm going to say fighting or whatever, but they don't always have a grand scale of the fighting. It's sometimes smaller or more localized in a lot of shows. So it's not a grand scale. And it's hard to do some grand scale type things. In some cases, it's easier to just do that type of game as more of a tactical miniatures type game if it's more smaller scale than it would be to do a grand scale. So that's what makes Risk harder. Life, on the other hand, is basically a spin the spinner, turn and move game. So you could do all kinds of different themes with life. Like you could even do a political life, the life of a politician, trying to win office or something. I don't know, the campaign trail life, like Life Presidential Edition, where every player's trying to, I don't know, run a successful campaign and try to become president or win the primary for the presidency, whatever. Or I don't know. If you come in some other place, you might get lucky enough to be given a cabinet position or something. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know, you can't become president, but you could become like a senator or a congressman or something. And, you know, that'd be interesting. What do y'all think? Comment down below. So, various different life games. Again, Hasbro probably won't touch that one either because, well, I don't know. They might because they did, did that parody Monopoly Communism, Socialism, or whatever edition. And that Miss Monopoly, that one was, yeah, that one was sexist against men. Anyway, so I guess it depends on how much money they can make. I mean, they could probably make some money, but do they really want to? So, oh, and Stratego, that's another one. But again, Stratego involves a war. So you kind of have to have two sides fighting each other. So, so life. Uh, you could almost do any and every theme with a life if you think about it. I mean, every video game and is basically every video game is basically, well, not every one of them, but most of the video games you're playing one single character. So you could easily make a life of that game because version of that game, but unless of course it's popular or something, they're probably not going to do it. A GI Joe life would be, I mean, yeah, a GI Joe life would be cool, where you could, choose to try to be a Joe, start off, in training and go on missions as a Joe, or you could try to, you could choose to be a member of Cobra. So there'd be like two paths, and go on missions and whatnot for Cobra as Cobra operative. That'd be cool. But GI Joe versus Cobra, or I think it would work good as a risk game myself. Um, but we're supposed to be talking about life, not risk in this video. So life, like and superheroes, for example, classic superheroes, for example, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle life. You know, that, I mean, that would be kind of interesting. Um, I collect turtles, so I'd probably buy that life because I do collect turtle stuff. As you can see, some of my turtle stuff over there. Power Ranger life would be kind of interesting. As you can see, I collect Power Ranger stuff too. So, yeah, uh, that would be that'd be kind of interesting. You know, play as one of the four turtles, or play one of the five Rangers. And y'all basically all end and then, you know, join together to defeat the big bad at the very end of the life. Which, for turtles would be Shredder in the Technodrome or whatever, and for the Power Rangers would be, I don't know, whatever, the Rita, Lord Zed, you know, taking the fight to the moon or whatever, and to the moon, and whatever, and then, you know, you, it's morphin time. The all the Actually, there's six rangers. Yeah, that's true. But all the rangers like get get their Zords, and the Zords combine, and then you have like a cooperative game, and I guess you base who the winner is off of who got the most points or something during the game, which could be life tokens, towels, or whatever. But anyway, the point is, be a cool life. So there's all kinds of games you can make life themes off of. I think you could make a life theme of animated cartoons, anime shows that are popular. They could make life theme games off of that. Yeah. So yeah, that would be pretty cool. Not sure how they would do a Transformers life, but I'm pretty sure they could pull it off. There should be a way to pull it off. Anyway, I could probably do a Star Trek life. That would be interesting, a Star Trek edition life, because I mean they did a Star Wars themed edition life, and they did multiple Star Wars risks, and of course they did a Star Trek risk, but didn't exactly do it how I would have did it. So they kind of did it differently. I would have did it where it was like the different alien races fighting each other, and I would have made it exclusive to Star Trek, TNG, and Deep Space Nine era, where your big antagonist is the Borg, and they just like show up and pop up like a neutral faction, kind of like they do in um, the zombie one, the zombie game, the Risk zombie game, Black Ops Zombies, and then there's Risk The Walking Dead that has zombies, and then uh, I think there's another one where you have that, where there's this mechanism where troops or something of an enemy just pop up on the board, and they're neutral faction. That's how basically the board would work, like the zombies from the Walking Dead risk, or like the zombies from the Black Ops zombies game. They would kind of work like those zombies. And also, you could play as a faction. Then that way, it would be more like protecting your home world and galaxy from the invasion of the Borg, but also you could play as the Romulans and the Cleons and the Federation, and trying to think of another faction, but can't really think of another big major faction. There are some other factions in the game, don't get me wrong, but there's not very many major factions. That's like the big three: the Federation, the Romulan, Star Empire, and the Cleons. There's another faction coming down below, but still, a 3-player Risk versus Borg would not be too bad version, to be honest. Excuse me, because that's the main three right there. There's a Cleon, Romulans, and the Federation, dude. But now we're talking about a Risk game. I'm talking about Star Trek Life. You would basically play as a cadet going through the academy, graduating, and then, like, after you went through the academy, you would get stationed on the Starfleet, and you'd go on missions and stuff, go on with the away team or whatever, and then maybe you play as one particular crew member. So it'd be like a 2-part thing. You go through academy, and then you get stationed on the Starfleet. And you become a particular officer on board that Starfleet, which would work good as Life, but might also work good as a oh no, my battery's dying. Stop telling me that. Would also maybe work good as a yeah. Well, I mean, it would be kind of. It would be. One person wins because they get to the end of a life game, but the other person, they win because they in life you usually win because you have more money or more points or something. So that's how you usually determine who wins. It's not really a game where there are a few editions of Life where you have competition and direct, like, struggles with the opposing player sometimes, but usually those are very minimal and don't happen that much in the game. So with Life in general, you're more likely going to just be spinning and moving. So it's a pretty simple mechanism. Spin, move, do what it says. I mean, spin, move, do what the space tells you to do. That's pretty simple mechanism, right? So yeah, you can do some life. You can do some life themes. Uh, uh, so you could do all kinds of franchises. There could be like different franchises based on cartoons, anime, video games, existing franchises, TV shows. Uh, that being said, here's and different things that exist in real life, like religion, for example. I was talking about that earlier at the beginning of the video. Uh, Now you could do some horror type themed stuff, but if we're doing life of people or whatever, you could do a horror themed one where you do like life of the of a monster, like maybe Universal Studios monsters, and you play Edition of Life or something where you play one of the famous monsters from the Universal Studios monsters. Or Hasbro probably won't touch this 10-foot pole, but there are a lot of famous slasher flicks. There's Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, Friday the 13th, Halloween. I'm pretty sure there's a few others, but where you would be playing as that character, and that would mean essentially, technically, you would be playing the life of a serial killer. Uh, don't think Hasbro's going to touch that at all. But it's something that could happen. I mean, you might have to get a secondary company to make something of that nature, but it could. But I mean, it could happen. It's not totally impossible or out of the question. It's a good idea, thought, theory, or whatever. Anyways, see what else? Life, 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 life. Yeah, comic book characters. You could play the life of a Shield agent or Hydra agent, or for Marvel, DC, a life of a member of the Justice League life, or Avengers life, life of an Avenger, or Teen Titan, Teen Titans life. Or there's just so many potential, or Spider Verse life. You play as one of the Spider Men from the Spider Verse. There's just so much potential with life themed lives. They 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 overdo the Monopoly thing is what I'm trying to get at, which is easy to do. I mean, it's just so simple to do Monopoly. It's so easy to do a Sorry game, Trouble, Guess Who. You could easily retheme almost anything into a Guess Who type game. Uh, I was thinking about a horror themed Risk uh, the other day. I was thinking you could have some classic horror figures that are multiples, like the Gremlins and the Critters. They're groups of people, and then you can have like the humans in there, and in the game you could have like different factions of the horror themed monsters that are multiple monsters attacking like this one little small town or something. And I guess the territories would be, of course, the different buildings and different stores and houses in the town or whatever. It'd be interesting. Now, what was I getting at is life. Yeah, there's all kinds of different ow, themes that you could use for life. So comment down below, like, a theme you'd like to see with life. And comment down below, like, any thoughts or whatever you would have, um, like, how you think that life would kind of work, you know? And if you would like to have me do more thought experiments like this, um, comment down below. And comment down below some topics, of course, that you would like me to do with thought experiments of this. They could be board game related, they could be action figure related, they could be other gamer related, they could be other geeky thing related. Of course, you can always do various different lives of a soldier from different or warriors from different points of history, like life of a knight, life of a this, life of that. You know, when we get that. And as always, remember that God is good. Excuse me. All the time, God is good. Keep on gaming, keep on collecting, keep on thinking, uh, keep on subscribing, keep on watching, keep on viewing, like, comment, subscribe, share, uh, all that good stuff. And hope everybody's hope everybody next week has a Merry Christmas. And then the next week, a Happy New Year. So there's only 7 days away from Jesus' birthday, which probably isn't his actual birthday, but today we celebrate it. And then 7 days more. I know I'm pointing at 5. Okay, 7. There's we're gonna have a new year. So it's gonna be Happy New Year. Comment down below a New Year's resolution.